All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video. In this video, we're going to do the weekend wrap up where we talk about games from this weekend, performances from this weekend, updates from this weekend, and this Monday morning. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. There wasn't too much that went on this weekend, which is fine by me. It makes this wrap up a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to download or upload and then to get to you guys. So that makes me happy. But first things first, we're gonna go in order through I believe this was the 8th, so that was Friday or Saturday. Friday or Saturday. We're gonna talk about New Orleans Pelicans at San Antonio. We're gonna talk about the Suns at Clippers. We're gonna talk about Rockets at Bucks and Pistons at Sixers. These games each individually have at least one good performance from them. The one I watched personally was Suns versus LA, where the Suns got the win. But I do want to start off with shouting out a particular player from this Pelicans San Antonio game. The New Orleans Pelicans lost this game 119 to the San Antonio Spurs 126. And the hero of this game, with no Zion Williamson, no DeJounte Murray either, still recovering from that torn Achilles, an unlikely source. You got a Trey Murphy 41-point game. Yeah, so Trey Murphy, 41-point game, 15 of 22 overall from field goal, 5 of 11 from three. That's 68% from field goal and 45% from three. No turnovers, one steal, three assists, 9 rebounds, 6 defensive, and a grand total of 41 points in a loss. However, he did play 38 minutes. Him and Herbert Jones and Jeremiah Fears, the rookie, were the leading scorers for the team that night. There was also some positive things to take away from Derek Queen from this game, especially with the injury to Zion. He's been getting a couple more minutes here and there, and I got a chance to watch some of these highlights on social media, and I don't often change my opinion about things, and one of the things I'm not going to change my opinion about is Derek Queen. I guess top right of your screen, um, top right, and then to the left, the second picture. Um, what number is that? Number 22. Number 22, I think that is. Um, I I see what people are talking about. I am still concerned that like he's just like an okay big. I shouldn't even say concerned. I'm still standing pat on my theory that he's just a regular big. Like he's just like a Jalen Duren, for the Pistons. He's just like a Robert Williams for the Celtics when Robert Williams was really good. He's just sort of he's in that class, not necessarily maybe an all-star, some maybe in a weird year he might be an all-star, but for the most part I think he's just like a standard big. And I don't know, with the things coming out of New Orleans, and that the things coming out of New Orleans are not good. Um, we could talk about that in another video. Maybe that will be the video for the end of the week if they continue on this bad skid. Um, I don't trust them developing a guy like Derek Queen. Derek Queen needs to be nurtured, and I don't think the Pelicans are great at nurturing people. One and two, keeping their players healthy. Um, that being said, um, it's good to show out. It's good to show that you got picked at the right spot. Because they made a trade for Derek Queen. Derek Queen is the guy that he has to really show out that the Pelicans gave up a pick in this year's draft to the Hawks so they could get Derek Queen. If Derek Queen doesn't pan out ever, then it's gonna look like a horrendous trade. If he just turns out to be like a Jalen Duren or a Robert Williams or any number of those guys, Nas Reed maybe, like not necessarily in play style, but just in name and the role that those players play or played, I think it looked okay. Now, if the Hawks get like Cameron Boozer or something, or like AJ Dabansa, like then we might have a problem. then Derek Queen might not ever look like a good trade for them. Anyways, what else for this game? Let's move on to the Spurs here on the other side. Spurs just went to town. I believe this was De'Aaron Fox's return game, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this was it. Game logs. Yes, this was his return game. Welcome back, De'Aaron Fox. He got the start as we thought he would. 24 points for him, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 31 minutes, so no minutes restrictions look like. 205 from three, that's 40%, and 9 of 14 overall from field goal, that's 64%. Also pitching in Harrison Barnes 15, Victor Wembanyama 18, Devin Vassell 16, Stephon Castle 16, and they do also have, if I can find the injury report here, it was convenient timing for De'Aaron Fox to come back because they had one of their other guards go down with an injury. So getting De'Aaron back, yeah. Dylan Harper out for multiple weeks due to a strained calf. So yeah, it was kind of it's good that De'Aaron came back. It's bad that Harper got injured because he's gonna have to come back in and relearn what life is like, or learn period what life with De'Aaron Fox is like. Because Dylan Harper was the Spurs draft pick from this past draft, so they're not gonna have any play time together. Probably for this month, next month, part of next month as well. Fox and Castle have gotten some time together, but this is the first game of many, hopefully, that the Spurs are at least somewhat healthy and they can start to figure out the real pecking order. And obviously, Victor Wembanyama's one, and then you figure out the rest of these guys because they have a lot of talented guys here. So we'll keep an eye on that for a little bit. Let's talk about Clippers Suns next up. The Suns went into the Intuit Dome and won this game 114 to the Clippers 103. And there wasn't a lot to take away from this game for me personally. Um, I had a feeling that Devin Booker would have a pretty standout game. He almost had a near triple double, 1 assist shy. Um, but the biggest blow was that Jalen Green, what the Suns got back in the Kevin Durant trade, the biggest part of the Kevin Durant trade, some might say. Um, he let's see, so he played these two Clipper games. He played on the 6th of this month, 23 minutes, little 29-point game, something light. A big comeback, they made a big deal about it. And then this game, he plays again. He starts. He only plays 7 minutes before he leaves the game with I believe it was a quad strain, or he tweaked his quad again. Let's see if I can find the correct injury report here. Uh, yeah, hamstring. Pardon me, hamstring. Yeah, he tweaked his hamstring again. He's going to be out um, for the foreseeable future now. That's the same injury he was dealing with that he missed the first 9 games of the season with. So it looks like if I'm the Suns, I'm not letting him come back till like All-Star break. You have to get that hamstring right, because if the hamstring goes, and Jalen Green is very athletic and very bouncy, if that goes, then he's not going to reach anywhere near what people think he can reach. And this is a huge thing, for him to not be healthy and him being the main get back in the Kevin Durant trade. But the Suns prevailed nonetheless. There were some hiccups in this game for the Suns. Um, Overall, you look at the box score here: 21 points for Booker, 14 for Grayson Allen, 19 for Mark Williams, 16 for Dylan Brooks. A pretty decent um, field goal percentage. The 3-point percentage is a little suspect, but the field goal percentages for each of them: 66 for Dylan Brooks, 77 for Mark Williams, 41 for Grayson Allen, 42 for Devin Booker, and 33 for Jalen Green. Only took one shot. So off the bench for them, they got a lot from Colin Gillespie. They got a lot from Maurice O'Neal, and the only real problem the Suns had this whole game, because they were running. When I say running a lot. They were moving the ball. They were doing all that positive stuff, right? They were outrunning this old Clippers team, and they made the Clippers look super duper old. And the biggest thing was the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was such a struggle for them, because I believe Devin Booker, he had a technical foul, and he had like 4 personal fouls, and he had to sit on the bench for a lot of the fourth quarter. They brought him back in when it started getting close. Um, and he did try to set the pace, set the tone, but it just didn't work out for him. And it was oddly strange to see. You haven't seen Devin Booker by himself, the lone star in a team, for a long time, right? And it really looked like it was back in the days where it was when the Suns are rebuilding. the first time round, and Devin Booker was the only guy out there, and he had all this swagger and he made all the shots. But it was different because he didn't have any of that. He was like being too passive. He was really trying to get that triple double. He was 1 assist shy, 10 rebounds, nine assists, 21 points. He just needed one more assist to get the triple double. Not manage that, um, probably because none of his teammates wanted to make a three when he passed it to them. But that's neither here nor there. But they won this game on the defensive end. They won it with Mark Williams rebounding. Only had 6 rebounds, but he was in there. He was disruptive. He tipped the ball out a bunch of times. Grayson Allen's shot making, Colin Gillespie's shot making. Even though Colin Gillespie only made 4 shots out of 13, he made the ones that mattered. And they really regrouped after this Jalen Green injury in the first quarter. So good for them. And the Clippers, man, the Clippers. I'm gonna at the end of this episode, I'm gonna talk about is it over for some of these teams already, and I don't want to say it's over for the Clippers because they don't have Kawhi Leonard in this game. They only had Bradley Beal, James Harden, and Ivica Zubac, Ivica, Zubac in this game. Um, Still, man, it's a bit disappointing, and I said in my preview of this team, the Clippers would need to get out to a hot start. They would need in order to have a good season and have a great postseason. They would need to start out hot. They would need to be able to rest guys after All Star break, have the higher seeding, and be able to go into this postseason many, many months from now with home court advantage of some variety, right? And they haven't been able to do that. Um, they've dropped what is this? Oh, wow. Okay. One, two, three, four. Four in a row. They play Atlanta tonight, so make it five. And then they go to Denver. They go to Dallas. They go to Boston. They go to Philly. This is an East Coast road trip, by the way. Going from Dallas, they head to the East Coast: Boston, Philly, Orlando, Charlotte, Cleveland, and then back in LA, but in Los Angeles. So the month of November is not a good month for them. So they've started off bad. They only have 3 wins on the season, and is it over? I guess we'll talk about that later. But talking about this game, man, you got 13 for James Harden, 13 assists. Okay, it wasn't enough. Bradley Beal stinker, 12 points, 4 of 9, 2 of 4 from three. Um, Ivica Zubac, 21, 15. He was the only one really eating this game. Um, John Collins had a couple good moments, 19 points for him. Nicholas Batum hit some crazy threes coming down the stretch to make it tight, but it didn't amount to anything. And DNP, Chris Paul, DNP, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and then DNP, 2 other role players. Not a great start for the Clippers. The Suns, 500 on the season, 5-5. They are 1-5 away. This is the first away game they've won, I believe. So good for them. And then Clippers, 3-6 and 3-3 at home. Not great. Next game I want to just briefly talk about here is this Bucks Rockets game. The Rockets went up to Milwaukee to play the Bucks. They won this game 121 to the Bucks 115, and excuse me, this game was capitalized or punctualized, capitalized, punctuated. That's the word. With a Giannis 37-point game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 14 of 25 from field goal. Not the best splits, not the best percentages, but at times it did look a little bit competitive. You look at this team, and every time I talk about the Bucks, I'm probably gonna say this: Giannis needs to have this type of game for them to be competitive against any other high ranking team. Um, 30 plus points. You'd like him to pass the ball a little bit more, but who's he gonna pass it to? I mean, you got Ryan Rollins 19 here. You got Miles Turner 13 here. You got Kyle Kuzma 11. And you got Bobby Portis 11, and then they did not. They do not have a bench right now. They played one, two, three, four guys off the bench, and then five, six, seven, eight, nine. I guess that's a 9, 10 man rotation, but you cannot run a 10 man rotation like this in the regular season. Expect Giannis to play 36 minutes. Expect Miles Turner to play 34 minutes, and then expect a young guy like Ryan Reynolds to play 30 when he's just getting comfortable playing this level of basketball. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. Um, For the Rockets, Alperen Şengün, 23 points, and then Kevin Durant, 31 points, leading scorers for the team. Jabari Smith, 16, and then Ahmed Thompson, 14. Steven Adams, 12, and then Reed Shepard, a little coming out party, a little 16-point game. 4 of 6 from three, 6 of 10 from field goal. Little coming out party, 29 minutes. Okay. Um, what I what I saw about this game was the crazy move Alperen Şengün had on Giannis. Şengün, a big guy, I believe he's like what 6'10", 6'10", something like that. 6'11", yeah, he's 6'11", 6'11" guy, right? How much? Let's see. Does it tell me how much he weighs? 6'10", 243. Dribbled up the ball, went between the legs, did a spin move, went between his legs again, drove to the basket. This is all on Giannis, a defensive player of the year guy, um, and just laid the ball up. And that's what caught my eye about this game, first of all. And then I had to go look at the box score. But doing that on Giannis was crazy. And I had to talk about it. I knew Giannis had a crazy game. I knew Kevin Durant had a pretty standard game by his means, 31 points. Um, Made all his threes, only took two of them, and then he was 11 of 15 overall from field goal. So just wanted to talk about this game real quick. And then the last game we'll talk about here, the Sixers versus the Pistons. The Pistons won this game 111 to the Sixers 108. The only reason I really want to talk about this game or talk about everything surrounding this game, because one, Tyrese Maxey had a good game, 33 points. I want to shout out Tyrese Maxey. He's ascended into a different sort of stratosphere um, of like the things I've heard. Like people are like, oh, he could be like a Jalen Brunson type. He could be like a what's the other name they mentioned? Like in that Jalen Brunson sort of trajectory where he's like moving up the ladder somewhat quickly, and he does it in a unique way. Um, the real reason why I want to talk about this, and before I get to that, bottom left, Kevin Durant and Giannis. Middle left, Devin Booker, James Harden. Top left, Clippers versus Suns, and then De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama on the right. I always forget. Sometimes I forget to mention this whole graphic that I made. It just sits there. um, anyways, bottom right. The reason why I really want to talk about this game is because the Sixers rolled back out the Allen Iverson black vintage Sixers jerseys. They did a whole big rollout. The jerseys looked great. The rollout looked great. Um, it was nostalgic. As somebody who like this is like one of my favorite jerseys and one of the first jerseys when I started watching basketball. I was like, why did they ever go away from this? This jersey is just timeless. It's a timeless jersey. Even though it's stuck in an era, it's a very fondly remembered era, especially by people like me who are about mid 20s, late 20s. Um, this is nostalgic, and it's an interesting time by an interesting player, Allen Iverson, and you got a guy like Tyrese Maxey rocking it there. The court looked great too. Oh my God, the court looked really good. I didn't think they would get the court right, but they got the court right. And yeah, that's really why I want to talk about this game. Not much else happened in this game. Uh, Pistons looked really good. They're on a 6-game winning streak now. Jalen Duren, 21 points, 16 rebounds. Duncan Robinson, 17. Cade Cunningham, 26 and 11 assists. And then Asor Thompson, 14. Um, Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff for the Pistons. I wanted to talk about the Sixers jerseys, but the Pistons have stolen the narrative sort of with this game. With the last couple of games, they've won 6 in a row now. So shout out the Pistons. Um, let's move on here. I do want to briefly talk about um, is it over for some of these teams? Tonight we do get Pistons versus Washington Wizards in Detroit. So that will be the game on Peacock tonight. We'll talk about that on Wednesday though. Yeah, that's when you guys will get your next video. It's probably Wednesday, because we'll talk about that game if it's good, and then we'll talk about Boston at Philadelphia to play the Sixers, and then Denver and Sacramento to play the, the Kings. Oh boy, we might not have anything to talk about on Wednesday. We'll see though. We'll see. Um, anyway, so let's talk about is it over for some of these teams already? We're about what, a dozen games in, 12, sometimes 12 games, 12 plus games in, sometimes 10 games for some teams. Let's go down the standings here. And talk about some of these teams very quickly. This is a huge overreaction, by the way. This is the overreaction part of the video. In the East, we'll go from the bottom to the top. So the worst to the, I guess, the mediocre. The Wizards. Is it over? I don't think there was ever any goal with this season except to improve, like, internally and improve players. So I can't say it's over. It's just where we thought it would be. Indiana are 1-9. Both Washington and Indiana are 1-9. Is it over? Yeah, it's probably over. uh, just out there for fun, for vibes, I guess. Uh, Brooklyn Nets also 1-9. Is it over? I think it was over before the season even started. So yeah, it is over. Charlotte Hornets 3-6. LaMelo Ball out with another ankle injury. That was reported a couple days ago. Is it over? Yes, it's over. The Charlotte Hornets will just be forever in this mediocrity to bad. Um, and it's on the back of a guy in LaMelo who just can't stay healthy. Literally cannot stay healthy to save his life. Fans are begging for him to put on the ankle braces because his ankles are like glass. People are telling him go talk to Steph Curry. Steph Curry dealt with the same thing. He'll give you like the special like the special sauce how to not injure your ankles. LaMelo Ball, man. Man, oh man. What more can I say? I can make a whole video about LaMelo Ball because I have very strong opinions about LaMelo Ball. I have very strong opinions about the Hornets as a whole. And then the last team up here, 4-6 for the Magic. Is it over? No, I don't think it's over for the Magic. Um, I think they've gotten off to a rocky start. I think they can slide into the play-in. They can slide into the play-in. You look at teams above them like the Raptors, the Boston Celtics. I could see them falling out a little bit. I think Atlanta and Philly are going to stay up there towards the play-in. The Bucks could fall, and then that's pretty much. I mean, if you really want to get doomer, like really, or optimistic, if you're an Orlando Magic fan, you could see the Chicago Bulls fall, maybe the Heat, maybe the Bucks. Was that one, two, three, four, five? That's five teams maybe that could fall, and you could be fighting with them for the play-in. Maybe it would look good. Maybe the outlook of the latter half of the season could look good, but man, this is not the start you want. You're gonna be fighting for a lower seed again this year, and we know how that turned out last year for them. So we'll see. Moving on to the West here. Um, Hold on. Pardon me, I had to sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze right into the mic. Okay. New Orleans Pelicans. Is it over? Is it over? Wait. I have to go back for a second. So, also in Orlando, there has been a lot of talks. That the talks are heating up. Is the coach going to get fired? At this point, I was sort of a little more optimistic in my last video when I talked about them. The signs aren't looking good. He looks demoralized. The team looks demoralized. It seems he's lost the locker room, and I fear he's going to lose his job as well. I didn't mean to laugh there. It's just you see this all the time. When you it's so the locker rooms are so fickle now. When you lose a locker room, you essentially just lose your job. Speaking of another guy who could lose his job, New Orleans Pelicans, Willie Green, 2-7. I don't think Willie Green's lost the locker room. I think New Orleans is just essentially trying to lose their basketball franchise because, again, the stuff that's coming out of the Pelicans just as a whole, not even just like them as an organization, their building, their marketing, everything has gone to shit. Um, Everything's bad. They're cutting corners financially with the arena, with their even like their emails, like the if you sign up for like their email letter, it's like Chat GPT, it's like AI written, it's like super bad. Joe Dumars, who was brought in, gave away their pick this year. That would have, even if you're gonna be this bad, you're like, oh, we have a pick at the end of this year. No, they gave it to Atlanta for Derek Queen, and it seems they've lost that trade already. And I already talked about that Derek Queen situation there. Is it over at 2-7? No Zion. Does Dejounte Murray even come back? Are they going to be that deep in the hole where they just like Dejounte, just sit? You don't need to come back. Don't rush back. Because he tore his Achilles this time last year, so he would be eligible or viable to come back as their starting point guard essentially. I, I'm gonna say it's over. It's so over. It's never been more over. And the biggest scenario, the biggest worry is that this is the beginning of the end for basketball in New Orleans because you're this bad and you're cutting this many corners and all this stuff, and you might lose your basketball team at that point. Might lose your basketball team, unfortunately. Um, Next up, 3-7, Dallas Mavericks. Uh, Talks are heating up, man. Rumors are heating up that GM Nico Harrison is gonna lose his job, and his connection with the owners has been severed. Like they don't talk. Like it's irreparable damage has been done, not just to the roster, but to um, the city of Dallas, because he is such a arrogant. I was about to say what I can't say on here. An arrogant guy, and he said in his like press conference when they drafted Cooper Flag and when they got the first pick, it's like I hope I can be judged on this year, this year being this year right now, that we will be better. And they have not been better. And Anthony Davis is out already with a calf strain, um, slash Achilles strain, which is not good. That usually leads to an Achilles tear if you aren't careful with it. So I don't know when he's gonna be back. You look at Kyrie. By the time he comes back, do you even want him to come back? Are they gonna be that deep in the hole to be like Kyrie, just don't come back? Um, Clay Thompson, and I've alluded to this in other videos. Clay Thompson. Clay Thompson looks so washed. It's literally one of the saddest stories in sports right now, or at least in basketball. Clay Thompson has never looked more washed. Cannot move laterally. Cannot make a shot. Um, Even though he's asked to be doing more, because they just have no guard depth. He's 30 something years old, man, and he's well past his prime. Um, he was benched for D'Angelo Russell for one of the first games of his Dallas Mavericks tenure. Um, and I always think back to the inflection point of when he left the Warriors. One of the biggest things was the Warriors were going to try to bring him off the bench, and Clay still thought he was a starter. And he went to the Mavericks because he wanted to play with Luka and he wanted to play with Kyrie, and they'd be the big three. And everything changed overnight from him. And I think when you look back on this, on the Luka thing and all this, the selling of the team by um, Mark Cuban, the biggest victim, or the second biggest victim next to Luka actually getting traded out of Dallas, is Clay Thompson. Clay Thompson is the biggest loser out of all of this. Clay Thompson deserves so much better. As somebody who revolutionized the game of basketball alongside Steph Curry, he deserves so much more. And I fear that he's not even a high level shooter anymore. He has been a high level defender for the past like 6 years, 7 years. Um, it might be over, and he might just get a farewell tour coming up here very soon. They're also exploring trade options for him. We'll see if that actually happens. We'll see what happens first. Are they going to trade Clay first, or are they going to trade? Are they going to fire Nico Harrison, who would have to make that trade? We'll see. We'll see what happens first. Sacramento Kings, 3-7 on the season now. Um, Mediocrity. Is it over? I don't even know if it was starting to begin with. Russell Westbrook looks okay, but you look at the team record. Um, does it even matter if Russell Westbrook's playing good if the team sucks? I'll let you be the judge. Um, LA Clippers 3-6. We talked about them. Don't have Kawhi right now. Bradley Beal's a shell of himself, and James Harden sort of just doing his normal thing, which is 13-13 on the season, or at least last game, and that's enough for him to go home and be like, okay, I played well. I guess, yeah. And then the Utah Jazz, 3-6. Um, I thought the Utah the preseason number was 20 wins or 18 wins. Could they get above that? I thought they could get above that. They're going to be without their man in the middle, Walker Kessler. Um, the Roy market and trade rumors haven't started up back again yet, but we'll see in a couple weeks. Maybe we trend towards the beginning of December, middle of December. Those talks start heating up again. Um, I hope they get to above 18 wins, but they're right back down here like they were last year. And they're actually trying to be good this year. Um, Lastly, here I have to talk about it. The Memphis Grizzlies, 4-7. The whole Ja Morant trade rumor thing is so heating up right now. Um, the coach Isalo um, has been marred with the accusations of he's a European coaching style coach. That stuff doesn't work here. The players don't like him already. Um, all this stuff. It's in what you could say turmoil. The turmoil, my series that I have on this channel. Definitely turmoil is brewing, has brewed, and is going on in Memphis. And um, can they recover the season at all? Because John wants to be in Memphis. Memphis is not going to trade him this season, even though the rumors have heated up. They probably won't trade him. What do I foresee? I foresee them in the play-in, right where they are right now, and they'll probably get to play Denver, Oklahoma, San Antonio, or Los Angeles, or even the Rockets, and get bounced. We'll see. We'll see. But that's it. That is the weekend wrap up. Again, I will see you guys on Wednesday. We'll talk about the 3 games that are slated for the next couple days. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my other videos. Check out the whole channel, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.